We're here to celebrate Rose's life. It's not an easy day, but it's a necessary day. And for those who don't know me, my name is Lou Saunders and I'm a celebrant. It's my privilege, it's my honour this afternoon to be able to conduct the service on behalf of the family. I want to thank your family for allowing me to do it, for meeting the other week when we did. To Dave, to Katrina, Brett, Max, Brooke and even little Brody. Pretty unique family. Very special lady that we're going to say our goodbyes to today. But it's good we're able to get with as many people as we can, given the circumstances, to be able to say our goodbyes. We're not 1.5 metres apart today. We're only 1 metre, which is getting closer. So thank you on behalf of the family for attending. And for those who would like to, the family have offered that the Grosvenor Hotel is going to be open if you want to pop around and have a few toasts towards Rose. You're more than welcome to do so after the service. So, also, the fact is, if you'd like to get up and share a memory or a story here, we're going to have opportunity during the service today to be able to do that. So a very special moment now for Max and for Brooke. I say, pay a tribute to the grandma. Thanks, Joe.
Don't ask me what you know is true. Don't have to tell you I love your precious heart. I was standing, you were there, 2 worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart. We could live for 1,000 years, but if I hurt you, I may wipe from your tears. I told you if we could fly, 'cause we all have wings. But some of us don't know why. I was standing, you were there, 2 worlds collided, and they could never.
Beautiful tribute to a beautiful lady. If I could just invite you now just to check your mobile phones for me, please, just to make sure they're off. But if they do need to be on, just on silent mode would be appreciated. And that's one of those things we don't often do. Turn off our phones, but today's not a good day to share ringtones. Life and death. How do we handle the death side of things? How do we deal with it suddenly? When a friend, a cobbler, a mum and grandmother passes away suddenly? How do we grasp the reality that Rose is no longer at the end of the phone? No longer there to chat to? How do we do that? I don't know the answer, to be quite honest. For each of us, there'll be a different answer and a different response today about how you're dealing with today. For some of you, it may be very hard to accept the fact that you never got to say goodbye to Rose. It suddenly caught everyone by surprise. You may be disappointed with yourself. You never got to tell her what a great friend she is and how much you appreciated her. You may be able to laugh at a funny picture or a funny story, but you may not be able to. I want to say from the outset today that is all okay. Because each of us here will handle the situation and the moment differently. Your emotions may catch you by surprise today, and that's okay. We're here to celebrate Rose's passing, but we're also here to acknowledge the grief and the loss that comes with her passing. This is a safe place to allow your emotions to be expressed today. So please, if you need to laugh through the tears, you can't find the energy to laugh, that's okay. We're all in this together. I'm just going to share a short poem, and I believe it's one of those poems that Rose would like to get into your hearts today, to sink in that she's okay now. She's at rest. She's at peace. Let me share this poem. It's called Memories of the Heart. I don't know who the author is, but it's a beautiful piece of poetry to kick off this afternoon. It says, feel no guilt in laughter. She knows how much you care. Feel no sorrow in a smile that she's not here to share. You cannot grieve forever. She would not want you to. She'd hope that you would carry on the way you always do. So talk about the good times and the ways you showed you cared, the days you spent together, all the happiness you shared. Let the memories surround you. A word someone may say will suddenly recapture time, an hour, a day. That brings her back as clearly as though she was still here, and fills you with the feelings that she is always near. If you keep those memories, you'll never be apart, and she will live forever, not safe within your heart. We have one of Rose's really close friends here this afternoon who would like to get up early and share some thoughts with us. So Tracy, if you want to come up now, sweetheart. Big breath. Just from your heart. Just come up and share.
Firstly, I'd like to say my heartfelt condolences to Rose's family, Trina, Brett, Max, and little Brody. I'm so sorry. Life is so very precious, and death is such a thief. The word seems so feeble in moments like this, when I'm so overcome with grief. Rose, you were my best friend and like a sister to me. And how lucky am I to have had a lifetime of friendship that makes a goodbye so hard. I'll miss you. You mean the world to me. You are irreplaceable and always will be. Rose, you are truly one of a kind. You are so dearly loved, and I will miss you forever, more than words can say. I will treasure all my memories of you. So this is not a goodbye. It's a thank you. Thank you for coming into my life. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for just being you. All through the joy, the sadness, the ups and downs, we were always there for each other. Thank you, dear friend. I will miss our adventures. Rest in peace. Rock on, babe.
Thank you, Tracy. Really appreciate that input. I know your heart's broken by the loss of a really true friend. Brett, I wonder whether you'd like to come up now and share some thoughts with us. Oh, Max is keen to get onto that microphone. I know he is.
So hi everyone, thank you all for coming to celebrate the life of Rose. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brett and I'm Rose's son-in-law. You may have heard of the Victorian Collins supporter that married my daughter. That's me. Kat and I have told the kids it's important to speak about Rose, as whilst we do this, she will never truly leave us. To begin with, I'd like to share some of the memories Max, Brooke... excuse me. Sorry. I'd like to share with you. So Max, this is your stuff. I put some of my stuff in there as well. So Max loved his Nan. In his words, she is really nice. He loved to go on fun adventures with Nan. They would go to the forest, or maybe just go on drives to random places. On these adventures, they would collect lots of stuff like crystals, rocks, pine cones, and even bugs. This is what he told us. On a side note, Kat and I had to find places to put this stuff. On one adventure, they visited an animal park, fed some animals, had a picnic, and Max was lucky enough to get a shark truck with sharks on top. Max is now sad that he won't get to go to the forest with Nan anymore. Max also loved having sleepovers with Nan. Unfortunately, Max has a thing about dogs, which meant he was a bit scared of Zeba. But as he had more sleepovers, he was learning to like Zeba more and more. Much to mine and Kat's dismay, Rose loved to let the kids go and sweep through their pyjamas. Max loved this. I don't know if Kat really did though when they come home. Max also loved the time he found some of Santa's beard on the floor when we spent Christmas Eve or morning at Nan's one year. The final memory Max wants to share is of us going to football with Nan. She used to buy Max the record every week, which Max would devour before the match started, and he loved how Nan cheered loudly for the Power, regardless of how the Power was going. Max will miss his Nan, but he knows the time that he spent with her was precious. Brooke also loved her Nan. That's you. This may be due to the copious amounts of food that Nan shared with her. Or it could have been the chance to pose for 100,000 photos. Maybe it's the fact they both shared a love for the Power, with Nan's favourite player, Travis Boak, often kicking the ball to Brooke's favourite in Charlie Dixon. Brooke loved the chance to sleep over at Nan's, because this would mean things like going to the playground, visiting the forest, having her hair done, or spending time relaxing at home with Zeba. In fact, Brooke has already informed Kat and I that it's now up to us to take her and Max to the forest. Brooke adored Zeba, and Zeba adored Brooke. In Brooke's words, I love Zeba in the whole world because she is my buddy. Brooke also wanted everyone to know that we love Nan 100. I know she will always be in my heart. Is that in the building? Good for that. So the memories I have of Rose are different to the kids. I remember the constant talking, the stubbornness, the Ugg boots, and salad bars. How can I ever forget Rose's fondness for salad bars? For those who don't know, if we went somewhere, there had to be a salad bar, otherwise she wouldn't go. I will remember her welcoming nature towards a teenage Collingwood supporter from Victoria. Probably guess who that one was. Well, that is after she told Kat to be careful entering into a long-distance relationship. I guess Kat and I were both too stubborn and wanted to prove her wrong. I know Kat and I joked about it, but this was just Rose looking out for her daughter. As a parent now, I can appreciate the advice. As a loved-up 18-year-old, those weren't exactly the words I wanted to hear. However, once Rose knew I was in it for the long haul, she was very welcoming, something I will always appreciate. Excuse the ferals. Yeah, of course you're not. I will also remember the 5 words that will forever make me shudder. I just couldn't help myself. What useless crap was Rose about to pull out of her bag? Would it be something penguin-related for Katrina? Would it be toys or foods for the kids? Would it be another pair of black and white, something black and white for me? Most likely Collingwood socks from the Queen Victoria markets in Melbourne. I think I've got about 3 or 4 pairs actually, so she liked to buy them all the time. So at the time, I really hated those words. However, I did come to realise what it actually was. It was Rose's generosity. It was her way of showing that she cared. I'll also remember the afternoons at the footy, watching her beloved Port Adelaide. As I said, as you can see, I'm a Collingwood supporter, but we went to almost every Port game together as a family. If you ever had the opportunity to watch footy with Rose, you would know she'd like to cry. Max, what did you like to cry out a lot? What word didn't Anne like? Starts with C. Crummers. Every time the ball hit the ground in the Port forward line. We never had the heart to tell her they couldn't hear her. And she probably wouldn't have listened anyway. However, My favourite memories of Rose involve the immense joy she took from her family, the smile on her face when she'd see Kat and the kids, be it as we walked up to her at the footy or as we saw her at home. It may have only been a brief smile because she didn't want to convey too much emotion, but you knew she was delighted to see Kat and the kids. They were her world and meant everything to her. I dare say, if push came to shove, the family would rank just above Port. Not by much, but just enough. So I'd like to close on this thought. Apart from the two crops behind me there. If you said to Rose at the beginning of her life that she would spend almost 28 years married to a wonderful man, have a beautiful, caring daughter, and be a grandmother to 3 amazing grandchildren, I believe she would have taken that life at a heartbeat. Rest in peace, Rose. That's it.
Come on, guys, I want my stools back.
No. How about you two? Oi.
Right, hey, I've been cool faces at me. Mum's waiting. Get mine. That word, don't you? Parents, no. You must get it off Nan. Nan was good at saying no. Yeah. I'll play the drums, you watch me. Would anyone else like to share a story or an occasion here this afternoon? Yep. Well done. I don't know, these different coloured scarves though. What is this? You're trying to stir the pot, you crew. Thank you.
So I am the lonely West Coast supporter in a pair of families full of Crows and Port supporters. My name's Simone. I'm Katrina's best friend. My mother Tracy was Rosie's best friend. And Rosie would always affectionately call me her other daughter. And she's been a constant presence in my life for as long as I can remember. So many of my fondest childhood memories have Rosie and the Gubbins family in them. The first trip I can remember to the movies was at Victor Cinema with Kat and Rose to see Fern Gully. I think it was for Kat's 4th birthday. My first AFL match too was cheering her beloved Power to victory over the Bulldogs at Footy Park. There was the time I was overwhelmed and was far too scared to talk to the Fat Controller at the Railway Museum, and it was Rosie who took my hand and led me over for a photo and a hug. Countless years we secured the absolute primo Christmas pageant views out the front of the shop, not to mention all the times I can remember running in and out underfoot at that same shop in the school holidays, chasing the sheep and feeding the chickens up at Bayview Road, bonfires with toasted marshmallows, barbecues with the freshest lamb imaginable. The year Rosie named one of her new female lambs after me, I was so chuffed, and she always kept me up to date on my woolly counterpart, including when she became the proud mother of triplet lambs, something I don't aim to emulate. There were so many unforgettable camping trips down the Coorong, including the time I accidentally let my boogie board go and she boated out across the river before the other grown-ups got back, so I didn't get in trouble, towing my brother behind the boat so that he could grab it out of the water. As we got older, there were Christmas get-togethers, New Year's Eve parties, including a memorable one where us kids decided we were going to camp on the floor of the boat, which was on a trailer in the driveway. And we would sometimes hear stories from the grown-up camping trips once we were old enough to stay home by ourselves. The last time I saw Rosie was an exceptionally special day, at my wedding in December. She was there for my hens night, 2 nights before that, being her usual raucous self, as you would all know. She and my mum were regaling us with tales from their misbegotten youth. It was a wonderful insight into the life that she led before I knew her as my other mother. Rosie has been a part of every significant moment in my and my family's life. In particular, over the last couple of years, I've been so grateful for the companionship and assistance she's given to my mum Tracy while I've lived far away in Adelaide. I don't know if I told Rosie that enough, because let's be honest, we're kids, we're bad at that. I hope she knew how much I love and appreciate her, every day of my life. Thanks to her, I have my best friend and a whole lot of amazing memories. I love you, Rosie. I know you're at peace. You're with your darling mum Mavis now and Eliza. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Simone. That was really special. Beautiful. Anyone else this afternoon? Want to get up, share a memory, an occasion? I'm up here. She'll keep talking. Here we go. Why don't you both come up? When one's finished, the other will go. Good. Have a response.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm one of Rose's friend. I'm a bit nervous. I met her at the hydro pool. We just seemed to look at each other and click and become best friends. And we talked about anything and everything. Got ourselves in trouble a few times with our mouth. Just go out and have a smoke together, which I'm still smoking. Sorry, Rose. I'll have one for you later. And she became friends with just about everyone. We had close friends that we made that are here today. We used to go for lunch once a month to the hotel and had to be a salad bar there, which she loved. She did a laugh at the table. We missed her when she didn't come, and I'm going to miss her. I just wished, like everyone would probably say, called or saw her more often, as she used to give me a good laugh and help me through some problems, and we both share things together. And I'd just like to say she's going to be missed, and it's nice to meet her family today. My heart goes out for you. Best.
Come on. You can do it. Come on now.
Many of you probably don't know me. My name's Lydia. I'm really sorry for your loss. Your mum loved you guys very, very much. She spoke to me a lot about me. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Tracy and Rose at Paul's funeral. And that was a sad occasion, but luckily both of them passed peacefully, and we can't wish anything more than that for someone so special and truly beautiful. We're all together in life with other people for a reason. And I honestly think our love of the salad bar joined us. So I have very many memories talking to her and waking up drunk on the couch and missing half the game, ringing her up and finding out what the score was, and just regaling the kids and many pictures of you guys, watching you grow up on Facebook pretty much, and the stories and adventures. So I'm really sorry for everybody's loss, and I thank you for her part in my life, and I'm really sorry that she's going from you, Tracy, particularly. I didn't get down as much as I wanted to, but every time I did, it was fun, and we were at the salad bar, so I will continue to eat an extra plate at every salad bar for her from now on, and smile every time I think of it. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Well, Katrina, I reckon it's your turn. Thank you so much. Right, we're going to have the fan club with you. You want your stool back, don't you? Like that. I thought that was my stool. That's your stool. No. Well, it won't be your day. Here, Brooke.
Is there a nurse in the house? I'm on maternity leave. Oh, okay. Can I start with a quote that I found and I edited it slightly to suit Mum? Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in an attractive and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in sideways, coffee in one hand, cigarette in the other,
totally worn out and screaming, "Woohoo! What a ride! I want to go round again." Well, Mum, I will finally get to finish a sentence and finish what I have to say without you interrupting. So this is certainly something I didn't anticipate myself doing for another 10 or 15 years, and I'm still trying to get my head around everything. For those of you that don't know, on Friday the 5th of June I gave birth to my third child in young Brodie, and then on Tuesday the 9th of June I got the devastating news that Mum had passed away the day before. I can take comfort in the fact that her death was quick and she felt no pain, and she probably didn't even know what was going on, and that her faithful companion Zeba was by her side as she left this earth. The cruelty of the timing is something that I am struggling with and probably will forever. She had so much to look forward to, so much to live for, still so much to do. She was wanted and needed here, and she has been taken away too early. But in true Rose fashion, I can just hear her telling me to say my bit and get on with it. So just bear with me through all of this. So growing up, I was the only child. Well, seeing as there was only 3 of us, it meant we always got to do a lot of things together. You two, wait. I'm talking here. Having the hobby farm just gave me space to run around, and also instilled a mutual love of animals with Mum. I know she was always disappointed that I didn't have a love of horses that she did. Horses were something she had a long love for in her youth and in younger years, and hence why she had that massive property in Port Elliot when she met Dad. Her other animal love was of dogs. She bred and showed golden retrievers for a long time, as well as breeding Dobermans. There was hardly a moment in my life where we didn't have a dog or few. One of her favourite stories about dogs that she always loved to tell was of my birth. Mum and Dad were breeding Dobermans at the time, and their female dog was pregnant. When Mum was 1 week overdue with me and the dog was 1 week early, the dog went into labour and started birthing puppies with a heavily pregnant mum in the whelp box helping. And then Mum went into labour and had to go to hospital, and she often tells me the dog was so panicked the next day and distressed that Dad had to take dog and the puppies in the car and down to the hospital to see her. Anyone who knew Mum in her recent years knew of her love for her companion Zeba, and I often said she treated her better than me. Zeba was a gentle soul who loved Mum unconditionally, and she was there with her until the end and didn't leave her side. As a family, we had lots of local holidays together making memories, and they typically involved the water in some way, whether it be camping down the Coorong, hanging out one of the shacks that we had access to, fishing, heading out in the boat, many times to the beach, trips to Nan's beloved Magnetic Island, houseboat holidays, I could go on and on, I reckon, and just lots of driving around. And there were always adventures to be had, and quite often the Jowett family were not too far away. Many of our adventures involved the 4 of them, and we were inseparable. While there are many fond memories on our adventures, there is one in particular Dad wants me to share. There was one time us with the Jowetts went camping down at the Coorong, and we decided to go cockling. Mum decided to stay down and hold the fort while the rest of us went off. So off we went in the boat, and upon our return, Mum was hiding behind a table with a chair, fending off an emu that had come into camp. Did we go and help? Well, after a good laugh, we did. The mother I knew was a passionate one-eyed Port Adelaide supporter, whether it be for Magpies in the SANFL or Power in the AFL. She would often say her blood was black and white with a touch of teal. Her footy team was it for her, and she would always give you stick if you went for another team, and was always happy to make a bet with you if she thought she was going to win. This was something Mum and I loved to do together, anything footy, talking about it, going to it, tagging each other on Facebook, you name it. Whether it was Port Maggie's or Port Power games, we were both there cheering as loud as we could. Dad particularly always loved sending us off to Port Magpie Grand Finals because it would typically mean we came home with no voice, and he got some peace and quiet for a day or two. I also have a fabulous memory of the 2004 Grand Final, watching it together at home and celebrating. Grandpa, Mum's dad, was also a one-eyed Magpie supporter. He passed away 4 years beforehand, so Mum decided to pop open a bottle of champagne and celebrate the win and for huggers. That was at 5:30. She was in bed by 6. 2007 we don't ever talk about. It never happened. Recent times saw us going to the footy as a family, but making memories with the kids. She even loved Max and Brett, even though they were Collingwood supporters. And she even came around to buying Collingwood stuff for Max, because we always told her if she wanted to buy something for Max, she had to buy something for Brooke, and vice versa. So it seemed fair. I think she realised that there could be worse things in life than supporting Collingwood. Admittedly, our relationship was not your typical mother-daughter relationship, especially throughout my teenage years. Mind you, what girls aren't with their mothers? She wasn't the most outwardly showing of affection. We didn't go shopping, we didn't do each other's hair or learn to do makeup. I was admittedly a bit of a daddy's girl and a tomboy, but we had our thing. We had our fair share of things in common. We did spend a lot of time together with Nan. The three of us girls were inseparable for many years. And as a teenager, I think Mum and I used to clash a lot, probably because we're more similar than I probably would like to admit. Strong-willed, opinionated, always want to be right, talkative, both strong, independent women type personalities. But when I moved out of home, that was when our relationship changed and we grew closer. We began to talk more on the phone and have actual conversations, but we grew really close when the grandkids came along. I know she loved me and was proud of me, she just had her own funny way of showing it. Without a doubt, her number one loves were her grandbabies. I still remember when Brett and I got married. We were 23, but we'd been together for 5 years, and Mum at the reception just kept saying, 5 years, 5 years, you need to wait 5 years to have kids. I think that's probably because she didn't want to be a grandparent yet. She probably thought she was too young. But later that year, when we told her we were pregnant, she was excited, and in 2012, when Max came into our lives, she found a whole new... yes, you. A whole new love in her heart, and he became her little man. And in 2016, when Brooke came into our lives, a whole other level of love filled her heart with me having a daughter. Once Brooke was old enough for sleepovers, as Brett said before, the adventures of the three of them were endless, as were the phone calls or text messages from us asking if she could have them. Trips to Victor Harbour were a regular event, and they would often venture off to Deep Creek, Carpo Forest, down the beach, and just driving around. And of course she would spoil them rotten, with foods or gifts, but mostly with love or memories. And as Brett said, the phrase, "I just couldn't help myself," was heard after almost every occasion, but the enjoyment the kids shared with her was all worth the extra stuff in our house. Yes? No, he didn't touch your chair. The real surprise came for her late last year when we had changed our mind about having another child and surprised her with the news of another pregnancy and another grandbaby for her to love. We decided we let Max tell her the news, as I figured she can't be annoyed at him or angry at him. And her reaction was absolutely priceless. I made her speechless. Now, she literally had nothing to say. Now, if you knew Mum well enough, that was a hard feat. And while she was shocked, I knew she'd come around to loving another grandbaby. And on the Friday before she passed, I was able to tell her the news that little Brody had entered the world. She may never have gotten to meet him, but she got to see pictures, and I know she loved him unconditionally with every part of her, like Max and Brooke. Due to the suddenness of all this, I have been reflecting on my last moments with Mum, and admittedly they were fantastic memories to have. The last time we were physically together was for Mother's Day, which, like that photo on the coffin, is from. She brought Zebra up to our house. We shared a seafood lunch. Brooke was running Zebra around like a crazy person. Mum just sat and spent time with the kids, Brett and I. We talked about the usual things, but spent a lot of time talking about the baby and planning for her upcoming stays, as she was going to come and help me when the baby came. The last time I spoke with her on the phone, I was calling her to tell her of the arrival of baby Brody. She didn't know the day we were having him, so when I rang and started talking to her, she didn't realise. So she just started babbling on about other stuff and anything or anything. And then she just, at the end, went, "Oh, I'll wait to hear from Brett with the news." And I just kind of acted a bit dumb and went, "What news?" She went, "Well, of the baby." And I went, "Well, I'm holding the baby." And well, then off she went. And then the last text messages we exchanged were ones to say that we were leaving the hospital and that Brody was coming home, and was a photo of him in his capsule. One of her last messages to me from her was her saying she was proud of me, was happy for me, and love you. I think for some final moments you couldn't get any better. Mum, I will miss being able to text you at any time to ask you a random question or just talk rubbish. Admittedly, the inability to complete a sentence before you interrupt, I will miss. Constant tagging of football posts and other bits on Facebook. going to the football together, and as Brett said, who's going to tell the boys where are the crummers? I'll miss ringing you up the day before the weekend and said, can you take the kids for the sleepover? I'll miss the strange looks I get when I order a triple shot cappuccino or a coffee with an extra shot. And I'm sure there are a million other things like birthdays, grandparents' days, Christmas and schools events, but I'm most of all going to miss the special unconditional relationship you have with Max and Brooke. And I will miss you seeing you making that one with Brodie. I know they're going to miss you immensely, and that's what saddens me the most, is I got to have you for 32 years. And yes, the kids got you for their whole life, but it just isn't long enough. I just can't believe you won't get to see Max play any footy, or Brooke start school, or Brodie start walking, and all the little things along the way. I won't let them forget you or the special bond they have with you. Love you, Mum. I hope you get some peace wherever you are, and you will forever be in our hearts.
Thanks so much, Trina. That was beautifully shared. Got some giggles out of us, a few distractions, but did well, did really well. I think it'd be great now if we just captured a little bit of Rose's life, and I do want to thank family for allowing us into your life with the photographs from those very early times to some very recent times. So we can do that now, it'd be great. Thank you. At the DVD player, Joe Knox, you'll have to point it at the screen. sharing those beautiful memories of Rose's life with us. It's time to say our goodbyes to Rose. It's time to send her on the next part of her journey. I'm going to invite Jane and Mark forward from Simplicity Funerals, and if you'd like to come forward and place a floral tribute onto the coffin and say your goodbyes, you wouldn't mind then just returning you to your seats for just a short moment, and we'll bring the service to a close. So if we could have that next track of music on, and thank you, Mark and Jane.
Emotions ran high and the words were strong. Heard the screen door slam, you were gone. Can't win outside, don't understand. Wake up alone, reach for your hand.
Max, you can have my blue number.
Rose had mine.
Oh.
I get another one. All right, now we're going to read a lovely little poem just before we say goodbye to Nan, all right? So we'll just sit still for a little bit longer. All right? Thank you guys. It's been so good. Beautiful poem that I shared with family the other day and just struck a chord as I shared it. It's a beautiful poem about tomorrow. Because in your tomorrow, Rose won't be there. To text, to Facebook, to phone, to visit, to shop with, to support the power with, to share their salad bars with, apparently. How the salad bars are going to survive. Let me share this beautiful poem with you. It says, when tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, the sun should rise and find your eyes, all filled with tears for me. I wish so much you wouldn't cry, the way you did today, or thinking of the many things you didn't get to say. I had so much to live for, so much yet to do. It seemed almost impossible. I was leaving you. Thought of all the yesterdays, the good ones and the bad. Thought of all the love we shared, all the fun we had. If I could relive yesterday, just even for a while, I'd say goodbye and kiss you, and maybe see you smile. Then I fully realised this could never be. Emptiness and memories take the place of me. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you. And each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. So when tomorrow starts without, I think we're far apart. Every time you think of me, right here, in your heart. Family and friends, if you're able, would you stand with me as we speak words of committal over Rose here this afternoon. Family and friends, to everything, there is a season, time to every purpose on earth. A time to be born, or sadly, a time to die. Here in this last act, with sorrow, but without fear, with love and also an appreciation, we commit Rose to her natural end. Family and friends, we come from the dust, and we return to the dust. We therefore commit this body for cremation, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, memory to memory, peace to peace, and love to love. Rosemary and Gubbins. Rose, may you now eternally rest in peace. I could invite the pallbearers forward now as we remain standing. We're going to cheer Rose out with a couple of songs she'd love to hear for the last time. Port Power theme song, Port Adelaide Magpies theme song. I don't think she could think of any way better to leave than with those rousing songs behind her. On behalf of the family, may I thank you all for your love and your support shown, not just for today, but for the days leading up to today. And thank you for your expression of concern for the family. And family, may I again thank you for allowing me to take the service. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Will you come out? Will you come out with me? If you'd like to follow out, you're more than welcome to do so.